Man.
underestimate SB and Sean, breaking through the noise, serving real talk, the genuine choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes, just sports passion fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made, real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound, unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade, real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. Sbtalksports Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. We are live. Sean, how you doing today?
Doing good, SB. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. Hope y'all are enjoying your Valentine's Day, whatever you got planned. Hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I got something planned. We're playing, something slight and crazy. What about you?
Nah.
That chilling? No love on the love day. And comment down below what y'all got planned for the love day. I mean, that's what people call it, love day. Look. So no, just a regular day, another holiday. They just in the system they just made just to get us to spend money, just to trick us to go out here and do whatever. But we got a lot to talk about. When it comes around this love day, it's the All-Star weekend. A lot of people are excited for that. I can tell by me saying this, Sean, you don't seem too excited. I got to wonder why you're not excited for the All-Star game. But also the NFL season has ended. We got to recap the season. We got to go into, since we had this conversation about quarterbacks and the Jalen Hurts, and I know Jalen Hurts fans, y'all have been attacking me. Sean, don't say it as they should, what they should have. So we got a story has dropped about ranking quarterbacks by tiers. So that's in our category. We rank people by tiers. We also got to talk about offseason storylines. Steph Curry had a lot to say about how he doesn't want to end his career like Kobe Bryant. It might have a lot of fans up in uproar. And then also we got to go back into this Brady versus Mahomes thing. I told you, Sean, that the NFL really wants this GOAT debate thing to go on because that's an extra set of media eyes that you can get to talk about the sport consistently online instead of necessarily watching, because a lot of those people who only talk about the GOAT debate when it comes to players probably don't even watch the sport consistently to keep up with what's going on, but they just know those two players. But we got to go. Let's go right to the NFL season review. A great NFL season. The Philadelphia Eagles obviously close out the season as the NFL champions, Super Bowl champions. We also have Jalen Hurts getting the Super Bowl MVP. Then we had to look at Josh Allen gets the regular season MVP. Saquon Barkley almost broke the rushing season record. It's a lot of things that happened this season. My question to you, Sean, what's your overall recap of the season? What's your grade for this season? And what was the most shocking thing to you that happened this season? What shocking thing to you this season?
I mean, it's definitely an overall, really good season. I think what you saw this year, SB, a couple things. Obviously, the resurgence of the running back was probably one of the biggest things.
Shout out Saquon and Derrick Henry.
And Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon and Bijan Robinson and so and the combination in Detroit, Sonic and Knuckles, and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Definitely seen the resurgence of the running back, and I think when you see teams who have invested in the running back position have the success that they had this season, being a team that wants to be a little more balanced, wants to run the football, wants to control the line of scrimmage. It's a copycat league, so I would expect that you'll see some teams this year go into their offseason, with some better planning around if we can find that guy, how do we pay that guy, whether you find him in a draft or, in free agency.
Sean, do you think it's funny how, looking back on how this season went, obviously the Eagles winning, and you go back to when the Eagles signed Derrick Henry, when the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, people laughed at it and also said, like, he's not going to make a difference. And even we can go back when we had an episode about it. I thought people lost their mind to say that. And I can go back if I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. But I could have sworn that people had lost. Like, you don't understand the magnitude of a team like that to get a Saquon Barkley. And they thought it wasn't really going to make that much difference.
I mean, I think I recall saying in that episode that it could have a very similar impact to Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers.
Which it did.
Yeah. Obviously, a bigger impact because the Eagles won. So, I think it's, again, it's not that you pay every single running back, right? You pay the special ones.
Yes.
And you pay the game changers and the ones who can – help take your offense to another level. So I think you're going to see, a little bit of a resurgence in that, space as well. And again, I think you're going to see it probably reflected in the upcoming draft, where teams, may normally say, oh, we're not drafting a running back in the first round. I think everyone pretty much has Ashton Genty as a first round running back.
Yes.
But maybe some guys who might have been third rounders in years past may get up into the second round and vice versa. So, I think about like Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, that, or, the two backs, Judkins and Henderson from Ohio State. So I think you're going to see a resurgence in teams saying, if you got a special running back, you got a stud running back, we got a great opportunity here to pay these guys and ultimately, make our offense, what it can be with that type of running back behind our quarterback.
Yeah, because now I'm sorry, you need a back. If you don't have no back, I can't see no team winning without no good solid running back. But also, Sean, I did meant to ask you, like, what was your most shocking thing that surprised you? Also, can you answer that and then tell me what was the most you were disappointed with this season that you said? It could be anything: teams, storylines, trades, narratives, whatever. But I want to know what's your most shocking and most disappointing thing that you've seen from this season.
Probably the most shocking thing was to see, Washington have the season they had. I think we thought they were on the precipice of building something really strong, but it was going to take a couple of years. And the way they jumped out and, able to win 2 playoff games on the road with a rookie quarterback, and they're, albeit not a brand new head coach, their first year coach and Dan Quinn. Washington was definitely probably the surprise of the season for me. Probably the biggest disappointment, and if I can say there was a disappointment, was the Jets.
Yeah,
I think there were a lot of people that had great expectations for the Jets.
Me too.
Going into the season. I know I did. Cleveland is probably the other one, but but the Jets probably the bigger of the disappointments for me this season.
And then what would you overall grade the whole season for you, though?
I'd say B+. B+. Still some concerns around, officiating, some of the inconsistencies with some of these calls, particularly pass interference. That they have got to. I don't know. I'm hoping this offseason they'll spend some time in the competition committee talking about how do we get pass interference right, more right than wrong.
Yes.
Can we allow, do you expand replay assists without slowing down the game too much? That's just it's too big. And then also the other thing I hope they review is the quarterback protection rules, particularly the slide rules. A lot of big deals made around obviously the hit on Trevor Lawrence, which again, I think is as important for quarterbacks to protect the defense as it is to protect themselves and protect defenders. So, how is that going to be reviewed in the offseason? Because again, if you decide you're going to go down later than sooner, if you get hit, I don't want to hear that personally. So definitely looking forward to seeing, what they do with those two things in particular, pass interference and the quarterback protection rules for me.
For me, overall season, I was highly entertained by it. I'm going to give it an A-. And, as much as I watch sports, especially mainly football and basketball, and I count WWE for me, football this year, this was the first time, even that I'm not saying that because I know one of y'all going to say it in the chat because my Bulls was trash. That's not necessarily the case. That football actually had me in a chokehold this season. Like, if it was an NBA game on, WWE was even going on, whatever, I was watching the NFL game. I watched completely more NFL than any other sport during this time. So I definitely get an A-. A lot of shocking things going on for me. Obviously, I do agree with you with the Washington Commanders, because if you can sit here and say with a straight face that you thought the Washington Commanders was going to be in the NFC Championship game, you'll be lying. Because I didn't even think they were going to be that good at all. Nobody thought they was going to be that good at all. But for me, I'll go a different route. I definitely had to go to Minnesota Vikings. I couldn't tell you that I thought Minnesota was going to win 14 games. I couldn't see them winning 14 games. I actually thought they was going to finish last in the division. Sam Darnold played out of his mind. That defense was out of his mind. So I definitely go to Vikings. My most disappointing this season, I have to add like the 49ers on that list for sure. The 49ers, definitely the Jets. I go 49ers and the Jets for sure. I expected more for them. I didn't expect them to be that bad as they is. And then now the 49ers is over with. And I absolutely have to agree with, because that's what I think about, like what needs to be changed during this season is the calls with the referees. The pass interference, yeah, cool. But the main one that I really wanted them to look at is the quarterback running, because especially with me watching the Chiefs twice a year, I have seen Mahomes do this plenty of times where he'll fake like he going out of bounds or do like a little fake like he might slide and then try to still run to get an extra yard. Then when you pop him, they call a flag. No. Once that quarterback decides to run, he should be treated like as a running back. When the defensive, I forgot what team, it was commander, said we're going to treat Jalen Hurts like a running back. Once that quarterback runs out that pocket line, or once he go past the line, if you want to say behind the line of scrimmage, cool, treat him like quarterback. Once he crossed that line of scrimmage line, he's a running back. Treat him like that. He should be able to get his head knocked off just like any other player should, and it should not be no foul, be no flag, point blank. And that's where I'm going to go with it, because I seen too many, like you said, you got to protect the defensive players too, not just the quarterback. I done seen too many defensive players to hurt themselves. I done seen too many players get fined for quarterbacks taking advantage of the rules, especially you, Patrick Mahomes. He's the main person to take advantage of the rule, which I can't say is cheating, because he's just taking advantage of what's going on in the rule book. The NFL needs to go ahead and attack that point for me. Child, we over here, I would say mainly it came from you. Not going to take credit for it like we made it, but we from over here, from you planted to see the rules that players should be ranked by tiers instead of by 1 through 5, because of certain different areas that you could do. It could be era. It could be how stats is made, winning, losing, impact. So you made a great point and established a foundation here that we should rank players by tiers. Well, an article has dropped ranking these quarterbacks off this season alone by tiers, and we gonna go through them and see if they got it right. But all I'm gonna say is, I think it's like by fours. Each one's by four. No, they not. Just okay, a lot. Okay, let's look at this article. This from The Score by Dan Wilkins. He said ranking after the 2024 season, ranking quarterbacks by tiers. Let's put this story up here. All right, Sean. Who you think gonna be? I'll let you know the first list is a big four. It's gonna be four. So who can you guess the big four at least before we get into it?
Yeah, I mean it's always those four quarterbacks in the AFC that get talked about like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, and Burrow.
And Sean is on the money. The core four: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had a 70% completion rate this year. That's wicked work. Not gonna lie, 70% completion rate is crazy. But Sean, for me personally, I will have to agree with this core four. I think these guys are the best four quarterbacks in the league. If I had to go a particular order, even though Josh Allen, when he won the MVP, I'll probably have him at four between these guys. I'll go Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, Allen. I think Allen and Burrow is interchangeable. But I'm sorry, the first four quarter. If you say who the best four quarterbacks, no matter what order, besides having Mahomes at one and Lamar at two, the other order you can figure it out. I think this is the core four. Do you agree with these are the four best quarterbacks in the league?
Yeah, for the most part. The only one I probably have some conversation about is Joe Burrow, but other than that, I think they got it right.
I'm besides winning, Sean, he got better stats than all four of them this season, though.
Well, I mean,
individually, he got better stats than them.
Well, he's got, one more touchdown or two more touchdown passes than Lamar, but I think he threw 5 more interceptions.
Yeah.
He
got 500. He almost got not 500. I'm sorry, a lot more yardage.
Well,
almost 700-800 more yards.
Yeah, but then you factor in Lamar has almost, I think he had 900 yards rushing this year, if I'm not mistaken. So
probably so, yeah.
I mean, again, for me, it's the conversation about Burrow is, again, I think a lot of why Burrow is in this list is because of 2021.
I can't say that no more. No, I think he's in that conversation because he's just that good, Sean. I think this year solidified even more.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying that if someone said, I have Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow, I'm saying, and I've seen lists that have done that. I understand why they're doing that. Again,
besides winning, Sean, what is Jalen Hurts better than Joe Burrow have done so far?
Do we have to talk about his ability to use his legs?
Okay, and running.
Because again, that's part of it. And also, again, the best ability is what?
Availability, for sure.
Right. So again, Hurts has been more available than Joe Burrow in his career. So I'm not saying Joe Burrow's trash. I'm saying that there's question marks about Joe Burrow, and again, he's only finished 2 seasons healthy in his career. Yeah. So if that's a big issue for you, and again, availability is an ability, that will take Joe Burrow down a tick. But that said, this isn't about just talent. This is about the overall assessment of the quarterback, and again, so I've seen lists that have put Hurts ahead of Burrow, not ahead of the other 3, but ahead of Burrow, and that's part of the evaluation.
I can't. And also, this is off of this article is from off this season alone, and I think so. Well, at least after this season, so I don't know if 2021 has that much say so on this weight on this one, but let me see. Wait, let me look and see what he said about Joe Burrow. Burrow would have been right there in the MVP conversation. were it not for a difficult Bengals defense. Okay, so it's only about this season alone. So it's about this season.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So well, then I understand why he put it, because no, his numbers is like, if he had a winning record, I'm sorry, Joe Burrow winning MVP. Like, his numbers is like ridiculous. Almost 5,000 yards, 76 completion rate, 43-9. If he had a winning record, he would by far easily win the MVP. But at the end of the day, you didn't have a winning record, and you didn't make the playoffs, barely made it. So if he was like maybe won his division or in a wild card spot, I could have probably seen him getting MVP, because his numbers, not gonna lie, Sean, his numbers was ridiculous. So the next one is called ceiling risers. The ceiling riser quarterback is Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud. Now, I don't know if this is in order from how he got it or not. I just think maybe he just put him there because I may be thinking that because he went Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow. So let me see what he said about Jalen Hurts. Hurts has his limitation when it comes to dealing with pressure and working through progression. He demonstrated a route to the Super Bowl MVP. That doesn't matter that much. The Eagles star is an outstanding leader. He throws a vertical shots as well as anyone, and he's always at his best in the biggest games. Hurts as a dynamic runner. He now has two of the best rushing performance by a quarterback in Super Bowl history. All he needs to do is win. Okay. All he does is win. I'm sorry. I don't think it's in order. I think he just put him there. I don't think that's it, but it don't matter.
Yeah. The only,
I know if you're going to say Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I don't think Dak is I don't think Dak is a ceiling raiser, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly like looking at, and like you said, because what I just read from the comments from Joe Burrow, right? And everything about it he said in Joe Burrow, you see in that paragraph right there above it while y'all watching, everything was about this season. If we just add this season alone, Dak Prescott does not belong in this conversation. Like, compare his stats to everybody else's stats in this right now. It's like, why is he here?
Well, and again, a lot of that is he missed a good part of the season with the hamstring injury. Yeah. So I know that factors in. So yeah.
Okay, and then I'll wait. I want to hear you say Justin Herbert. This is where the real debate starts. Herbert hasn't won nearly enough for most to consider him in this spot. His 4 interception game in this year playoff doesn't help, but it came after a regular season which he picked off just 3 times. This pure pass talent is right on par with the group at the top of this list. And the win should come when the Chargers get a chance to add playmakers around. Okay. I can respect that. I think obviously Justin Herbert needs some playmakers. But overall with this list, like, besides Dak, if Dak had a full healthy season, I do think Dak belongs in this conversation. As much as I like give the Cowboys a lot of smack talk, I think the next other people behind him, like, okay, if you had these are your top 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think these guys will be in that conversation. Next up on the list, it said knocking on the door, Sean. The knocking on the door players. Goff, Geno Smith, Love, Jaden Daniels. So now I know it's not in order, because obviously out of all these guys, if you're going off this season long, Jaden Daniels would have been at the top. So okay, so it's not in order. So what about this list?
I mean, I'm okay with this list. Again, for me with rookies, I'm a big let's see another season before we put them in certain conversations. But that said, can't take away from what Jaden Daniels did this season. We said earlier, Washington was not a team anybody had.
No,
what they did this year. He was a big part of that. Not the only part, but a big part of that. And so, no, I don't necessarily have a problem with this list. Probably the person that probably surprised people that is on this particular area of the list is Geno Smith.
If they wasn't so up and down shaky, people would more respect us. A 70 completion rate with 4,000 yards to 21 to 15 touchdowns, because they had their ups and downs. Like, the Seahawks look real good, they look real bad. But
right. And they lost a couple games against teams they had no business losing to. So,
you
know, but that said, I don't think there's a quarterback question in Seattle because of Geno's talent. I think there's questions in Seattle whether or not he is the long-term solution for them. So,
and I know everybody watching the show just heard me say earlier about Joe Shiesty possibly getting MVP because of his numbers. And I know you're like, what about Jared Goff? You see, he had 72% completion rate, 4,000, almost close to that 37 to 12. I just think those other guys played it like a little better. But shout out Jared Goff too, though. But Jared Goff balled out this year too, especially with all the injuries that he had. The next one is solid starter, Sean. We got Tua, Kyler Murray. I'm going to say Keegan Murray, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy. I think solid starters is a perfect name for everybody in this category. Trevor Lawrence, the only person I would say I really expected more from is Trevor Lawrence, even though he had a lot of different things going on in his football team situation when it comes to coaching, and with pretty much coaching problems. But besides that, I actually agree with these.
Yeah, I won't argue with this. Again, I wish people would have more conversation about Trevor Lawrence. And by honest conversation, I mean,
it's time.
Let's just evaluate him for who he is and what he is. He's a solid quarterback. He was never a savior quarterback. And he got really pumped up at Clemson.
I mean, they had a great year, though. It was the pumped up. They had an outstanding year. At
they
Clemson
had
that year.
A lot of talent. And obviously, again, when you got the look, you tend to get pumped, and I'm just leave it at that.
Yeah, tall, long hair, white guy. Of course, he got the look. He gonna get the nod. Ascending young guns. We got Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bryce Young. I totally agree with this list. I think all these three quarterbacks got a bright future. Also, shout out Bryce Young because they gave up on that boy. He sat down. He lose no comment. It was a lot of things going on during that time. They did come out where it's like he had off the field troubles, problems at home, whatever. So his head probably wasn't in the game at the time. When you clean house, I'm going to say allegedly, kind of 100% no, allegedly, that he cleaned house, got his chance again, and was balling out. And that's all you got. I'm glad the Panthers don't give up on Bryce Young. Bryce Young is can do some good things in this league. I definitely believe so. And Drake May and Caleb Williams, even though they both in bad situations, they have definitely shown they're worth their picks for me. What about you, Sean? We agree with this list of sending young guns?
Yeah, I think this is accurate. These are all guys coming off of their first or second year. This is probably, no disrespect, this is probably where I would have put Jaden Daniels just because of the 1 year.
1 year.
But that said, this is not being an ascendant young gun is not disrespect at all. It's just you're in your first or second year. And you still got some more work to prove and show. So
yeah, but when you make the NFC Championship game, that's why we gotta probably put you in a different category. The next one on the list. Oh wait, and Bo Nix is on here too. Bo Nix is on here. I guess it didn't show up on the chart. Yeah. Bo Nix too is on here. Nah, I definitely agree with Bo Nix on here. That's another person who shocked me. He said capable vets. Okay, I might have a disagreement. on this one. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, agree. A capable vet and Derek Carr. Capable is a strong word for Derek Vehicle. I don't know. He got to go somewhere else and show me something because his time in with the Saints, Sean, I know you watched that very closely. It was not good. A capable vet is a strong word for Derek Carr. I can't do that. He don't need to be in this category. But Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, agree. What about you? Capable is a strong word for Derek Carr. Capable.
Sometimes quarterback is a strong word for Derek Carr, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I think ultimately, at the end of the day,
it's a strong
Derek
word.
Carr is what he is, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
All right, cool. Let's go ahead and finish the rest of this list. Vets near the end: Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. I mean, yeah, That's near the end. If not, it is the end for me. I think Derek Carr should be in this category, but that just,
I mean, I wouldn't argue if he were.
I wouldn't argue either. Yeah, but and then it say too early to tell is the last one. Michael Penix, Anthony Richardson, and JJ McCarthy. Obviously, JJ didn't play, so you can't tell anything.
Right. Yeah.
Michael Penix, I'm definitely high on. I think he's going to be great when he gets a chance. Also, one of those interceptions was not an interception. Cal Pitts, I'm so disappointed in Cal Pitts. I thought Cal Pitts was going to be one of the great tight ends. That's a different story for a different day. Anthony Richardson, I don't know no more with him. It ain't too early to tell him, but it's getting shaky.
Well, I'll say this. I will remind people that Anthony Richardson, when you look at total games started, has only started one NFL season.
Yes.
Because he missed most of his rookie year with the shoulder injury. I think he only started 4 or 5 games. And then this year he was in and out of the lineup as well. So he's only really started a season full of games.
He really played that much in college.
And well, he only had one, full season as a starter at Florida. I think he's incredibly raw
talent, yeah.
But they knew that going in, and I don't think they necessarily handled his development as well as they could have.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also remind people there was another quarterback who just won the MVP whose first 2 seasons weren't great either because he was still very raw and needed to clear up some things mechanically. So I'm not putting it past Anthony Richardson to do that, but Anthony Richardson's got to get in the lab this offseason.
And in much shape as I thought he was in, him, like his conditioning definitely seemed terrible, and he seemed like a freak of an athlete.
Well, yeah, and that's the other piece. But I mean, I'm just talking about him cleaning up some of his mechanics and his footwork. And I think he missed on completable passes. I think he missed 25% on completable passes this season. That's not good.
No, it's not.
And so, I think he's got to get in the lab and do some work. And then obviously you mentioned McCarthy. We haven't seen McCarthy yet. We don't know what McCarthy is. Don't know what that we're going to talk about here in a moment. But, we don't know what his situation is going to be next season in Minnesota. If he's in Minnesota next season, so jury's still out on him. But, obviously they still think very highly of him.
And then this last part of the list don't matter. They say the rest. We're not going to talk about those guys. Let us know what you guys think about the ranking tier list of quarterbacks and how you're ranking quarterbacks. Majority of this list I kind of pretty much agree with Sean. We got to go ahead and get into some more things going on this season when it comes to things going on NFL. We got to talk about offseason storylines. A lot of things going on in the offseason. We got the draft coming up. We got the draft coming up. We just came off the Super Bowl. People questioning stuff about Super Bowl. We got players already requesting trades. A lot of quarterbacks could possibly be on the move. Let's go ahead and start up with the one that matters the most because the draft combine is coming up. Sean, Colorado, Heisman winner Travis Hunter, position has been revealed. The 2025 NFL Scouting Combine. He will be listed as a DB, defensive side of the ball. He will be cornerback. Are you shocked about this? And do you think the NFL made a mistake?
No, not shocked. Again, I think everybody understands what Travis Hunter is from a talent perspective.
Yes.
The reality is that there's not many NFL teams, if any, who will say, yes, we want you to play full time on both sides of the football. Everyone has, been very, very frank about this is a grown man game. And, that's just not something that is doable at that level. That said, any team that brings him in or that drafts him will tell him, hey, listen, we want you to be a corner full time, but we're going to find some offensive plays for you a game. We may want to use you on special teams. We're going to find unique ways to get the ball in his hands. That makes more sense.
Yes.
When you just talk about the combine, it's really about just the group that he's working out with, things like that. That's really what it's more about than anything. But the teams that'll bring him in, to their facility, who are thinking about drafting him, looking at drafting him, it's more than likely because they plan to use him sparingly on the offensive side, and again, maybe even special teams, but they expect that he'll be, a full-time corner.
People forget though that during Colorado, well, I'm gonna say Colorado, his early time with Prime, he had to earn the spot to play. I remember Prime had him on defense at first, and he earned his way on the offensive side. I think Travis is gonna have to do the same thing again, like earn your way to the offensive side, which is perfectly fine. There's no problem with that. But I think it's a recipe for disaster if he plays both sides full time. But I also think it'd be a recipe for disaster for an NFL team if you don't find time and ways to get him on the offensive side of the ball because he's just that talented. I think it's a perfect way to meet in the middle. Like you said, it is a grown man's game. And with it being a grown man's game, because Travis Hunter don't weigh that much. I believe, I don't know how tall he is exactly on top of the head. We probably 6'1", 6'2".
He's like 6'1", like 170 pounds.
Yeah, he weigh how much I weigh. Trust me, I ain't that solid to be running to. You got big bodies out there that's gonna be hitting you, linebackers hitting you, or imagine you got to line up against AJ Brown. AJ Brown ain't small, my guy. So, and that's what I think about because Travis gonna have to put on more weight too. And also, can his body be adjusted to putting that much weight on? Can he still move the same? Can he still, do what he do if he add more weight on? Because some people can't. Some people body not used to that, and that's
right. Yeah, and I think that part of it is that again, once he's in the league and with the team, they can get him on a nutrition plan, consistent nutrition plan. The expectation is, I think, that he will add weight. I don't even know if that's should even be a major question. My big thing for him at this juncture is, hey, look, commit to playing this position, because this is how I think you're going to sustain long term. But know that a team is going to want to use you in some different ways and some different looks and some different, lineups and things like that. And just be prepared for that. But the difficulty of, having to spend all your time in the defensive meeting, then run over to the offensive meeting, and it would be too much to do that full time. And I think they understand that. But I think Deion said it best. He's not a guy you put limits on necessarily, because he is an extremely talented football player. But you also have to be realistic about if something happens to him while he's on offense, playing offense full time, and he's a part of your defensive game plan.
Oh, I'm
all those different
the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like it's because you're drafting him to be a number one shutdown corner, and
which he can
ideally, which he I know he has I believe he has a skill set to do that. It's just how are you using him elsewhere? And again, that's why I said special teams. It's a unique way to get the ball in his hands, given the new kickoff rules, things like that, or the kickoff rules that went into place last year. Find unique ways to get the ball in his hands and see what he can do.
Yeah, you definitely have to do that. But let me know what you guys think in the chat, and make sure you guys comment down below. Should Travis Hunter play wide receiver and DB full time or part time? Me and Sean both agree that I don't think it's just going to be a recipe for disaster for Travis Hunter. He conditioned enough to do it, though, Sean. I will say that he's conditioned enough to do it, but like I said, it's a different game over there. And those some big grown men over there on the other side. I don't think you can consistently get hit like that at his size and be successful. But I definitely think he should play DB, but they gotta have like Travis Hunter packages for him. Also, we had the Super Bowl pass. The Kansas City Chiefs obviously lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. The question allured because it was a rising thing, and I believe Jason Kelce kind of threw this in the air that Travis might retire if they won. So down, and then it raised questions like, well, Travis Hunter had a down year. Maybe was he 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door? Sean, do you think Travis Kelce is preparing to retire, or do you think he's coming back?
I think Travis Kelce is gonna, sit down and weigh his options over the next month or so before the league's New Year starts in March. I don't anticipate him taking too long on this. He's got a lot of different opportunities outside of football that I think are, calling him and putting him. I'm going to use an example, and I want people to understand why I'm using this particular example. It very similar to O.J. Simpson at the end of his football career. He had done movies. He had a lot of commercial success. He was getting pulled into broadcasting, things like that. And, you do, start to wonder, how much it's worth continuing to put, your body through that, particularly when you've had the Hall of Fame level career that OJ had, and obviously Travis Kelce has had. So I'm going to say, I think he hangs it up. I think he hangs it up. I think he, he doesn't have anything left to prove on the football field. And
is he like in the conversation for best? Like he's in that tier one. He's in that tier one.
Tight ends all the time. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I think so. And again, I think he doesn't really have anything left to prove. So for me, I think he's going to hang it up. But obviously, he's earned the right to take some time to figure that out. Because it's not even just the games; it's the preparation you have to go through during the offseason to get ready for the season and training camp, and he's one of those. He strikes me as if he's not all in, then he won't do it. So I'm thinking that I think he's going to hang it up personally.
For me, one thing that you did say that I will have to tip my hat to and agree with is that he don't have nothing else to prove. He's definitely a tier one tight end of all time, if not the greatest tight end. Depends on where you got Gronk, Antonio Gonzalez, Shay, but he's in that conversation. But also, I do think, like you said,
did you say Antonio Gonzalez, or did you mean Antonio Gates, Antonio Gonzalez? I was just making sure.
You know what I meant to say, but yeah, Gates too. I'm disrespectful. I didn't even say Antonio Gates. I'm disrespectful.
Yeah, you said Antonio Gonzalez. That's why I was like,
I put them together. But you know what I'm talking about, Gonzalez and Gates Yeah, but I put them together. I appreciate you for that. Also, I just not disrespecting Gates like that. My bad, OG. But no, I think like you said, and Travis Kelce having a down year like he did, it did feel like he was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think Travis was done when his brother retired, to be honest. And I think he just stayed the course because it's like we can three-peat. So let me go ahead and go for this three-peat. And that's why I was like, if he three-peat, that'll be the perfect way to end my career off for three-peat. And would leaving Patrick Mahomes at this point in time hurt the Chiefs? Actually, this is another thing that to be great when you have young talent there. I like that Noah. I think his name like Noah Gray kid. I ain't saying he's gonna be Travis Kelce, but he has been a solid. Like, okay, he could be a band-aid over missing piece. Now, I ain't saying he gonna be Travis Kelce because you can't replace that. You cannot replace Travis Kelce like that. But at least you have a guy where you could like, okay, Patrick Mahomes can kind of be. I could do what I can do with this kid. But go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, but it's just really hard to tell. But I do think that I think Travis is done though too. But go what you're saying.
Well, I was gonna say too. Also, this is a very good tight end draft. This offseason with obviously Tyler Warren from Penn State, Colston Loveland from Michigan, Mason Taylor from LSU, Harold Fannin from Bowling Green, Gunnar Helm from Texas. I think there's going to be like probably 7 or 8 guys in this draft easily who are starting tight ends in the NFL just because of how NFL teams are using tight ends. So
if you go lead, this the year to do it. You go get his replacement.
Yeah, and also if you're Kansas City and you can find, not your next, because there's no next Travis Kelce, just to be clear, but you can find your next potentially dynamic tight end. Because Travis Kelce, if he decides to retire, it'll allow you to put some resources in, other areas of your team, like the offensive line, for example. So, it could be, beneficial on both sides. But that said, out of respect for Travis Kelce and what he's done in his career and for the Chiefs, they're going to give him the time he needs to, make that decision, I believe.
Next up on the list, Mr. Myles Garrett, who has came out and asked a request from the Cleveland Browns. The Browns side has already came out and said they do not want to get rid of Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett pretty much came out and said he wants to compete for Super Bowls. I don't believe he wants to leave Cleveland, but he like, hey, look, bro, I'm tired of losing. So with this trade request, we keep it short and simple. What team should be on the phone trying to get Myles Garrett ASAP and do whatever it takes to get him?
The Atlanta Falcons absolutely should be.
Is it going to be a Super Bowl contending team, though, with him?
Well, listen,
I can see it being competitive, but Super Bowl contending, I don't know.
Well, I mean, let's just be real. That division is very much up for grabs. And all you got to do is put yourself in a position to win the division first, and then you get in the dance and you see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not even just talking about Myles Garrett. There's 31 other teams Myles Garrett will be great on because Myles Garrett is just that great. I'm just talking about from the perspective of need versus, what do you have on the other side of the football? They have a potentially very explosive offense with a young quarterback in Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson and Drake London and obviously Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts, if, depending on what happens with him. Their big issue is they weren't able to really generate a consistent pass rush until later in the season because they just weren't – they really don't have that dynamic guy up front to go with, what I believe is a very good secondary with Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates and obviously A.J. Terrell. So Atlanta would be the team I think should certainly look into it, whether or not they're going to be willing to trade, the draft capital it takes and extend Myles Garrett, because that's the other part. You got to take care of Myles Garrett contractually as a part of this. That's the big question to me, but they would be the team I would say I think should be the first call. But I don't think it's a guarantee that Cleveland's going to trade him.
They don't want to.
They don't want to, and it's going to take a massive sweetheart of a deal for Cleveland to come up off him, and so we'll see which team does that. And
I'm Cleveland is going about it the right way. One, because it's Myles Garrett, but two, sometimes I see that teams just know that somebody want to be traded, and they'll start being like sour grapes about it. Like how Luka Doncic was like that, but they'll do it during the process. And when teams see that, they're going to lowball you because, hey, you don't really want to do it no more anyway. You feel this way. So to keep that mindset, even though I know it's true because Myles Garrett is that much of a dog, keep it like, hey, man, I really do not want to let him go. So now it's like, bro, you got to give me something that, like, I can't refuse type of trade. Now it's going to be maybe could have just been 2 first. That might be 2 first, a second, a fifth, another young player added. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need a haul. Go ahead.
No, and I think again, and I think a first round pick obviously is going to be part of the conversation. But I think when you talk about additional draft conversation, I'm not giving up 2 first round picks automatically. I may do a conditional second round pick that can turn into a first based on how we end the next season and the number of snaps Myles Garrett plays, and if Myles Garrett wins DPOY or something like that. Because again, the acquiring team has to hedge their bet as well in terms of, making sure that, hey, listen, if something happens to Myles Garrett,
we got
we got some insurance from a draft compensation standpoint. But that said, Cleveland knows they have an asset, and there's going to be some teams bidding for him. It's just making sure as the acquiring team that you put some insurances in place just in case something happens where Myles Garrett doesn't pan out and your team doesn't have the success that you expect getting a Myles Garrett.
Now, obviously for me, when it comes to trading Myles Garrett and somebody want to request on your team, you obviously want to trade them from a different conference. So it's hard to me to look at the AFC team. I think the most obvious, clear answer to that Myles Garrett is going to will be the Washington Commanders, because obviously they had a good run and they got the money. But only like I'm look. Only thing I'm gonna say, they do got $100 million cap space. I'm gonna see what they add to their defense to buff it up and everything, and see what they do. But I done went through this show with man, what is the offensive coordinator? Cliff Kingsbury, where it's like the first year, you know, he come in and nobody not used to his offense, then he just take off and destroys everybody. Then once they get that next year on film and they know what to do, the game plan can Cliff Kingsbury make an adjustment when people get used to what he's running. But my whole thing is also, I don't want to fall for, you even brought it up with rookies. We got to see what else more they do. I don't want to think this is a fool's gold year, or what they did last year was just a fool's gold year. So I want to see them do it again. So I wouldn't necessarily throw Myles Garrett in there, because what if they just have a down year because now everybody's ready to play the Commanders, and their schedule is going to be tougher this next season than what it was from last season. Remember, they had a number two pick in the draft type of schedule last year.
Right. Yeah. So, and again, I think for them, it's kind of, hey, listen, you know, going out and spending all this money in free agency doesn't guarantee you anything.
No.
So it's not even just how much you're spending in free agency, is are you adding players to your team that fit, you know, your 3 to 4 year plan while you have Jaden Daniels on this rookie deal. And that's really what it comes down to, and fits the culture that you want to build and continue to build in Washington. So we can say, oh yeah, they got $100 million and they should go do this and go do that, blah, blah, blah. My big thing is make sure these guys, you know, fit what you're trying to do. And also, you know, I'm big on the timeline thing, SB. I'm not going to go out and spend $20 million a season on a 30-something-year-old, you know, defensive player, even if it's an all-time great. Mm-hmm. Let me make sure I'm building a team, again, timeline team, because I think that's as important as anything.
Yeah. And also, but if I had to pick my team that I would say, hey, trade me here, is the Detroit Lions. I'm going Detroit Lions.
Well, and this is what the issue with Detroit, and I know a lot of people talking about Detroit. How has Detroit built their roster over the last
through the draft
4 years? Through the draft.
And
also, they drafted a guy 3 years ago who is extension eligible, and Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So you're going to give Aiden Hutchinson a massive contract, well-deserved massive contract, and trade for Myles Garrett and give him a massive – that's a lot of resources to do that. And again, so I know people are talking about Detroit, and I get it because it looks nice. That's a lot of resources to put in, you know, your two defensive ends like that. So my guess is it's not that they won't call, but I just think, again, the price will be too rich for them, given how Brad Holmes and that front office has built that team. They believe in their ability to scout and draft well and find guys, and I think that's what they're going to continue to do.
You got to make that. You got to make that call, though. By the way, you have to. There's no way you don't make that call for Detroit. Next up on the list is Aaron Rodgers. The question is, who will Aaron Rodgers play for after they have released that the Jets will let Aaron Rodgers walk?
So I wish there were a simple answer to this one, SB.
No.
I know we mentioned a couple teams on our last podcast. I mentioned the Steelers and mentioned the Raiders. Mm-hmm. What is Aaron Rodgers looking for at this point? Because that's a big part of it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, is a team willing to take on everything that comes with Aaron Rodgers?
Is this still the same Aaron Rodgers? Because this could be an ego destroyer too.
I mean,
it could be. Aaron Rodgers. This ain't never happened to Aaron Rodgers before.
Well, no, I mean, again, listen, it happened the moment Green Bay drafted Jordan Love and said, "Hey, we're getting your successor ready behind you." So this is the nature of the business. And Aaron Rodgers now is in his 40s. You know, how much longer does he want to play? You know, what is he trying to play for at this point? We already know the moment he hangs it up and retires, He's going in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, obviously. So what is he looking for? What does he want? And I think that's going to be a big part of this, evaluation process from a team that may say, hey, listen, let's take a look at Aaron Rodgers. But there's got to be some conversation back and forth about what does he really want? What is he really looking for at this juncture? And what are we looking for? Because, again, if you're looking for a short-term answer, Aaron Rodgers would make a lot of sense. But you got to have a plan post Aaron Rodgers either way, because, again, right now it's year to year with him. And you don't want to get caught, with your pants down saying we're going all in on Aaron Rodgers and not have a plan, post Aaron Rodgers, which is where the Jets are right now at this point, because they don't have a plan post Aaron Rodgers.
So any young quarterback that goes to the Jets, boy, don't do it. They can't develop a quarterback for nothing.
Yeah. So I think it just comes down to what we'll see, And again, I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm not saying it's 100% given that Aaron Rodgers plays next season. There may be a chance he looks around the market and just says, hey, this is nowhere I see, myself fitting right now. I'm going to hang it up.
For me, what I would want to happen, just to be funny, I hope he goes to – I hope like somebody gives Sam Darnold a super big bag and he has to go to a different team and he follows in the footsteps of Brett Favre and play for the Vikings. That'll be funny. So they're going to be destined for Jordan Love next. He's going to play some years with the Packers, go to the Jets, and then end up with the Vikings. But I think Aaron Rodgers, for me, the reason why it's hard to tell, one, if he wants to play, and then two, I think it's going to depend on what other teams do. I can't see the Steelers in their conversation with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields to go get Aaron Rodgers. I can't see the Vikings stop talking to Sam Darnold to go get an Aaron Rodgers. So it's like the Raiders. Like, I don't see them changing their plans from a young quarterback for Aaron Rodgers, or the Titans, or maybe the Titans, maybe, possibly. What's the other team that needed a young quarterback? The Browns. They trying to replace their quarterback. I can't see them doing it for Aaron Rodgers. So it's truly hard to tell. I think we will have to see what quarterbacks on the move first. Like we talked about, I think the Steelers and Raiders, when you brought up, is a good situation. But it's a lot of quarterbacks on the move, Sean. So with all these quarterbacks on the move, like you said, you brought up the Steelers situation. You got the Vikings situation. You got a lot of different teams. So what you think about the quarterback moves and where you see quarterbacks going that's available?
So I know there's a lot of talk about there being this crazy quarterback roulette offseason. I don't know if we're going to see that the way people think, given that A, it's not the deepest free agent class. B, it's not the deepest quarterback draft class. There's questions about the two top quarterbacks for some and whether or not those guys are franchise quarterbacks. So I don't think you're going to see like a Kyler Murray getting moved from Arizona. Unless you're a team that's saying, hey, we're tanking for Arch being Arch Manning, or something like that, which again, I don't know if you necessarily should tank for Arch Manning because he does have a last name Manning, which means he's probably going to have some say-so about where he ends up.
That too. And then we got to see him for a full year. I need a full year to start.
Yeah, you want to see a full year. Yeah, if you watched him, at Texas, he's shown definitely why. Even when he was in high school, he showed, this guy can be that next great Manning, albeit different from his uncles. That next great Manning quarterback. He really plays more like his grandfather, if you want to be honest. But that said, I don't think you're going to see this crazy quarterback movement. Obviously, there's some guys who are going to be on different teams. Kirk Cousins is going to be on a different team. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, if he plays, is going to be on a different team. But, are you going to see just these, bunch of different crazy? I just don't. I don't see it. I think teams are going to be very practical this offseason with the quarterback in terms of if they got a guy they think is available, you know, we'll see what happens. But for the most part, I think it's going to be very, very quiet.
I think it's going to be quiet because it's not a big enough name. But if I had to ask you, give me one quarterback that will not be on the team they played for last year, who would it be?
Russell Wilson.
It's crazy. We was going in the same direction. I'm going to say Justin Fields. Now,
I think it's more likely that Justin Fields is back in Pittsburgh.
I don't know.
Than Russell Wilson. Well, I mean, again, it's not just because Justin Fields isn't. I don't think Justin Fields is going to have this huge market in terms of teams saying, "Hey, we're going to pay you $30 or $40 million next season."
Oh no, he's not getting that.
Yeah, so I think again, the cheap is relative, but I do think you're going to see them say, "Hey, listen, we're going to give Justin Fields a full year here, and then let's see what happens after this full year. Maybe it's a 2-year deal, that's completely so we'll see."
Now, Sean, since we're talking about quarterbacks, obviously, Mahomes lost in the Super Bowl, which is fine. It happens. And then, everybody talk. Remember, I told you the NFL is begging for a GOAT debate. They begging for that. So they end up talking, or I'm gonna say the media. One of the mainstream media is First Take, and their show was built off that with Jordan and LeBron. Now we got it going on with Patrick Mahomes. So RC, Dan Orlowski, Shannon Sharp, and Stephen A. Smith was on the show. And I guess he kind of went at Uncle Shay, RC did, because about him capping, saying that the GOAT debate is over, but he pretty much been capping for LeBron this whole time. Let's look at this clip and react to it. And then, because I think RC exposed Shannon Sharp, if you ask me. I rock with Unc too, but let's react to it.
You should be ashamed of yourself because you've been carrying on a GOAT debate for a man that spent 8 years in the place and never won a championship. And then when he went to team up with his homeboys, the Banana Boat boys, Dirk Nowitzki shot 1 foot fallaways and put him out of his misery. And then the next year, they was getting beat. He was cramping up in San Antonio. And if it wasn't for balls hitting the rim and people kicking the football out to Ray Allen, he lose that one too, and he played terrible. So for you to say that it could be tabled or that he had to do so much to get back into the conversation, you got to choose a side. You got to say you out here caping for the GOAT James all the time, or that GOAT conversation should have been tabled a long time ago as well. Because according to you, getting to the championship, all of those times is supposed to matter. So the fact that Patrick Mahomes has never been sent home before the AFC Championship, that got to matter. The fact that Patrick Mahomes already has 2 MVPs, that has to matter. 3 Super Bowl MVPs, that has to matter. There could be a ton of his career left where he gets back to this moment. And because he didn't shine every time he got there, a lot like a guy we know, Shannon,
like
that
Tom
you
Brady,
cape for every single day. The only person you have cape for more than LeBron James is your brother, and your brother actually deserved it.
Pause it right there. So, Sha, I know you've probably seen this clip already too, and I've seen it too. And I actually think RC did hit a point of what he was actually saying to Shannon Sharp, because for the person that you have been defending has had moments, and I know everybody said you can't compare best. No, the point is saying that you are one of the biggest players on the team. You playing for a championship at the moment, and you don't show up. So now the GOAT debate is over, which is not necessarily ever true, and it wasn't true for LeBron. So when I said, and everybody thought I was hating on LeBron, when I said 2025 Mahomes is equals 2011 LeBron, I told y'all from the point is that no matter what Patrick Mahomes do for the rest of his career, it's going to be somebody who wants Brady to still be the GOAT, who's going to always bring up that moment. It's never going to leave Patrick Mahomes' career, which is not necessarily fair, which you're going to get into another reason why with Mahomes in a second. But I think RC hit it right on here for everybody who's literally saying that. You can see it on Unc's face too. Look why his face looking like that. I don't know. Unc got to do a different, get a beard or something, bro. That look wild. But Sean, it comes with a point for people and to instantly say the GOAT debate is over because Mahomes played bad this series. You are literally capping. Mahomes has been the embodiment of greatness since he's been in the league. That man has not seen the AFC Championship game, I think, only once in his career. And then once in his career, he wasn't even a starter. So it's like, that's all the like, no, we're not doing that. And for anybody else who said it's over and you telling me LeBron's your GOAT, it's like that you capping just like Long Unc was capping up there. But what was your reaction to this clip? Was RC wrong? Or did he cook Unc on that one?
No, he wasn't wrong. I think a couple things. One, this obsession with putting someone in this all-time pantheon while they are still very much telling their story, I think is a big problem in sports talk and sports media. I don't do it. I won't do it. That's not really.
That's why you break your tears, Sean. That's why you say you do the tears.
That's part of it. But also, why would I talk about someone who's still very much telling their story? It's like judging a movie halfway through. Yeah. Well, finish it, and maybe the movie turns out better than you thought, or maybe the movie falls off completely, or which is the possibility. So, I think we do that a little too much. But also, I think, and this is a problem with the GOAT debate in general, and why I don't generally like to engage. People will make it about one series in basketball or football or in baseball, and they will make it about one game in football.
Yeah.
There's so much more that goes into the equation than just that. So every time you ask someone, tell me about Tom Brady, if the first thing that comes out of their mouth is 7-time Super Bowl champ, you lost me. Because I didn't ask you to tell me about how many championships you won. I asked you to tell me about Tom Brady.
That's all they can tell you about Tom Brady.
But people put him as the GOAT. And it's like, because he was on the team that won 7 Super Bowls. So let me put that aside for a second. Patrick Mahomes has presumably a lot of football left to play.
Only 29?
He's 29. He's 29 years old. And if you look at their numbers up to the age of 29, Patrick Mahomes absolutely dwarfs Tom Brady at the same age when you talk about just the numbers. So that's
let's talk about it, Sean. Hold on, because sometimes they be thinking like we got necessarily just say we look at the numbers. Let's look at the accolades, Sean. Sometimes they, like I said, this real takes over fake debates. We ain't saying nothing just to be saying that. So I'm trying to tell you, Sean ain't saying nothing just to be saying. So let me go ahead. Let me show y'all something real quick and put us right here. I won't. This is the accolades alone, Sean, from age of 29 right here. Look at that. They both got 3 Super Bowls at this time. Look at Mahomes' touchdown passes to Brady's touchdown pass. He got 100 more touchdowns and 4 less interceptions, 6 more playoff wins, 2 MVPs, and he actually has a way better record than him. Sean not just saying this for no reason. It's old paper, old wax. Like, the reason why we have this conversation about Mahomes possibly in the career's GOAT because we never see nobody win as much as Brady or early win as much success as he did and is as talented as a Dan Marino or Joe Montana. That's what makes Mahomes so different. And if as Sean, I don't even believe I'm gassing and saying it for like he wins like Brady and is talented like in that Dan Marino, Joe Montana type of talent. That's what makes him different. That's why everybody put Mahomes in that conversation. It's on wax. Look at this compared by the age of 29. But go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish what you said.
No, I mean, listen, it's and again, this is why I don't enjoy trying to have the conversation. But again, if you want to compare the two, people will look at the 20 plus years of Tom Brady's career and compare it to the 8 years of Patrick Mahomes, 7 of which he's been a starter. So which is not a fair assessment. So again, looking at their numbers, their careers up to the age that Patrick Mahomes is, makes a lot of sense. Again, I think let's please stop with the whole number of championships, number of Super Bowls. Nobody has Robert Horry in the GOAT debate.
Nope.
Love Robert Horry, great role player, but nobody has him in the GOAT debate.
Nobody got Bill Russell as the GOAT, but true to King.
Right.
Nobody got Bill Russell as GOAT.
Well, some people do. Some people do.
And only in Boston, let's be real.
Well, no, I mean, it depends on your age and if you understand Bill Russell's value to winning. There are people who say in a team sport, he was the ultimate team player, individual team player, or individual talent as a team player. So again, I don't want to get too sidetracked with this, SB. I just think the problem we have is too often we boil down why someone's in the GOAT conversation with a team accomplishment. And it's not about the team accomplishment solely. That's the icing on the cake. It's everything else that comes with it that is a part of that. And so for me, I won't engage. I don't want to engage. I think it's silly to do it. Tom Brady's done. He ain't coming back. It's over. Let's enjoy Patrick Mahomes, and let's enjoy Lamar, and let's enjoy a lot of these talented players, non-quarterbacks as well, in their career. And then when their career is done, then we can talk about them, where they are in the all-time greats. But right now, I just think it's way too early to even consider that kind of stuff.
And Sean, to be honest with you, and people don't really want to admit this stuff, and I even said it last show when I said I called Tom Brady the game. Like, Tom Brady didn't become like the Mahomes-esque guy, like a star talent, to his second run. That was later in his career. Like that first Super Bowl, I believe, like during that, when they had that drought, like after that drought, when they went like a 10-year drought, and like towards the tail end of that, that's when he started becoming that guy, that Mahomes. I mean, the Brady. He was, because he was just Tom during that first run. He was just Tom, the quarterback. Cool, he does a good job. During that, I can't tell you, I can't pinpoint the exact year. I go back and do my research and tell you exactly when, because he made a turn during that second Patriots run. And then that's when he came to Brady that everybody know and love and talk about. Steph Curry might ruffle a couple fan bases' feathers, Sean, because he said something, and obviously, RP to the great Mamba, he put Kobe names in it, Dirk, Duncan in it. Steph Curry hopes the Warriors remain competitive in his final seasons. Obviously, Curry knows that he's on the back end of his career now, because it's coming to end slowly, and Steph Curry still wants to win. Obviously, they asked him a question about him ending his career and thoughts about retirement and what he wants to do for his tail end of his career. Steph Curry said he want to be competitive. So he said, I've seen different scenarios, like everybody talks about Kobe and his last years. From my vantage point, I'm comparing it to guys that only play for one franchise. People, all y'all heard was Kobe, but y'all didn't hear the key word when he said the players that only played for one franchise. Dirk, Tim Duncan, Kobe, from our era. You don't want to be in that situation the Lakers were in those last 3 years with Kobe Bryant. I know he came off of Achilles injury, but it was like they were a lottery team. And it was more just how many points can Kobe score down the stretch of his career. I do not want to be in that scenario. End quote. So what's your reaction to what Steph Curry said, and was he right or wrong?
He was wrong on Duncan.
What you mean?
So, Tim Duncan retired in 2016. They won the championship in 2014.
Yep.
The last year, the Spurs won 68 or 69 games.
Yeah.
So they were still a absolute contender up until the last day of Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan never had to lose a season in his career, by the way.
No, they didn't. So never missed playoffs.
Never missed.
So So Duncan is the one that I think is separate. Now Dirk and Kobe, different conversation. You know, I think what Steph is realizing is, listen, you can make a lot of money, and Dirk, I know, took pay cuts throughout the years to try to help the Mavs, particularly later in his career. They just weren't able to get guys.
He didn't want to leave, so that's why he took a pay cut. But they was going to let him go.
I don't think they were ever going to let him go.
No, I think Mark Cuban wanted him to go compete for a championship so they can rebuild, but Dirk didn't want to leave.
Well, okay, and that's different.
Yeah.
I don't think it was more them saying, "Hey, we're going to move on from you." It was like,
they can't.
So,
Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas organization would never just would trade a superstar, and when he got so much potential, or trade a superstar when he had like a legacy player, once in a generational type talent. The Dallas Mavericks, I can never see the Dallas Mavericks doing something like that. That's not in their franchise, right? But
you would think, yeah. But but no, I mean, listen, they so you understand Dirk, and again, to further point to Kobe, it was not good those last few seasons with Kobe. Probably after 2012 was probably their last real seriously competitive season. And if you're Steph, you don't want your final years to be like that. You want to be in a situation where you're where you're competing and you're able to say, hey, we're doing,
right.
we may not necessarily win a championship, but at least we're competing.
But my question coming to play though, Sean, is this though. Okay, so but you saying you want, it sound like Steph Curry want to play with one franchise. So you're saying, are you going to retire early, or are you willing to play for another franchise?
Well, I think Steph Curry's like Duncan. He sees himself in only one uniform. I think it would be only ceremonial if he went to Charlotte at this point to play.
So then it's still the same. Just stay and go to state because you're not going to win in Charlotte. Just
well, exactly. So and again, I think he's going to be one of those guys in the same conversation of the Kobes and the Duncans and the Larry Birds and the Magic Johnsons that we only saw him play in 1 year in one NBA jersey. And as difficult as that is in today's NBA landscape, there's something special about that. Yeah. Right. And so, I think that's what he sees. But also, again, he does want to be competitive. And I think the ownership wants to be competitive. It's just, are you willing to spend to be competitive during the final years of Steph Curry's career? Because he is thinking about retirement. He is not getting any younger. Retirement is coming sooner than later for him. So it makes sense that he's talking about it the way he is.
We're going to have to wait and see what you guys think Steph should do. Should he just stay with the Warriors, or when the Warriors start getting bad, should he retire? All right, Sean, final couple stories out here. Obviously, like you said, it's Valentine's Day. Look, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day for everybody out there. Where will you be watching the All-Star game? You got to watch it. Sean, do you plan on watching the All-Star game?
Not at all.
Well, okay. We still got to do an NBA All-Star weekend preview because Sean does not seem excited. Honestly, I'm probably not excited too because it's not the same no more. It don't feel the same. It just feels like a regular weekend now, which is bad. The trade deadline is more exciting than the All-Star weekend, which is sad to say. We're going to go through everything through the All-Star weekend. You got to tell me you got high or low expectations, and we can go ahead and get into it. Okay, first up is the Rising Stars Challenge. Obviously, the Rising Stars will be in different teams. We got Team T, Team M, Team C, and Team G League. Not to go because there's so many different teams. Obviously, shout out Buzelis. He got the call up, Montes Buzelis, because of the one player got injured on the Pelicans, I believe. But high and low expectation for the Rising Stars.
No expectations.
Jeez, y'all done took the heart and soul from Sean out of this. Y'all done took the heart and soul from Sean out of this. I'm happy to see Buzelis play. That's probably about it. But Yeah, I don't expect too much. Also, the winner of this game will be the fourth team entered into the NBA All-Star tournament, which they want to do a tournament for everything. Next up, the NBA three-point contest, where people are usually the most. I'm not doing a skill challenge, so if y'all looking for a skill challenge review, y'all might as well. Yeah, y'all not getting it. The NBA three-point contest, which has been the most exciting thing of the NBA All-Star Weekend. We got Jalen Brunson, Kay Cunningham, Darius Garland, your guy Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Cam Johnson, the Warriors, Dame Lillard to redefend his title, and Norman Powell. What's your expectations and who you got winning?
I don't even care.
Who you got winning, Sean? At least give me that.
I don't care. It's sad to say I have less than zero interest in NBA All-Star Weekend anymore. I am done with that.
I mean, I'm not mad at you.
I literally do not care. It does not mean anything to me. I do not care.
Sean's picking Tyler Hero.
No, I do not care.
If I had to pick, I'm not excited about it, I should say, but I think it should be good. But I'm going to go Darius Garland. I think Darius Garland gets it done. Next up is the dunk contest. Obviously, Sean, you're not excited for it, so go ahead and say it again. Sean, you don't care.
I don't care.
We got Matt McClung again, the G League sensation. Andrew Jackson of the Bucks, Stephon Castle, and Montes Buzelis. I'm picking Montes Buzelis. Next, obviously, Sean's not excited for it. We got the All-Star game with the new team format. We got Chuck with the global stars, international guys. Kenny took all the young guys, and Shaq took all the OG players, which it was clearly totally planned. Where we go act like they just all coincidentally did. They know they did. I just hope for. I don't have no expectations. I'm not gonna ask you to pick between and Sean. All I hope is for a competitive game, and I hope this weekend brings back excitement because obviously you see my co-host here, Sean, is just totally disappointed with the All-Star Weekend.
I don't. I literally do not care.
Jesus, look, bro, honestly, that's just a showmanship of how bad it's been that you don't even care, don't even want to watch. Okay, but Sean, episode 43.
We got breaking news. News.
Okay, what's the breaking news? Oh, give me 1 second. What is the breaking news could be? Breaking news from the Real Takes Over Fake Debates studio. What is the breaking news, Sean?
The Naismith Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame, has announced their finalists for this year's class.
Okay.
Carmelo Anthony.
Well deserved.
Sylvia Fowler.
Well deserved.
Billy Donovan as a coach.
That's
Jerry Welch as a coach. Okay. Tal Brody as a contributor. Maya Moore. Dwight Howard. Sue Bird and Mickey Arison as a contributor. So the pro basketball or the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame class will be announced during Final Four weekend in April. But congratulations to the finalists for the 2025 Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame.
Cool. Now, Sean, episode 43. What you got and why?
I got two guys. One both near and dear to our hearts. Darren Sproles.
Yes, he stole my answer.
I
got to come with another. Darren Sproles. A dog.
Yes.
A dog about it. Okay, Darren Sproles was a dog.
Darren Sproles.
You stole my answer.
And the other one is the hair. Troy Polamalu.
Bro, you took my second answer. I don't want to pick nobody else. Darren Sproles is my answer. Darren Sproles was a dog. The next Coast thing spectacular with Devin Hester. Watch Darren Sproles. Make something happen. Must see TV. If y'all ain't never seen Darren Sproles, go look up Darren Sproles highlights. You will see what we talk about. But that's it for me. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you guys go enjoy y'all love day with your loved one. It's been Sbtalksports Sean Webb, Real Takes Over Fake Debates, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.